Good afternoon from the Real Deal Kitchen. Oh, the sun is coming in and out a bit today. We're still in this temperate spring like mode here in the Northeast, with the weather being very come and go with the sun and the heat and the coolness and the wind and the rain. And I can certainly relate to that with what's been happening in the background of my own mind. Uh, been sitting with quite a lot lately, not necessarily more news about anything, but I've been actively sitting in meditation a lot more in the last couple of weeks. And so that's brought me much more to the background of my mind and experience. And when we wake up the background like that, we wake up to what's kind of churning and informing how we are in the foreground, whether we know it or not. And I've waken up a lot of disruption and angst, to be quite frank. And so, in sitting with that, it's kind of brought me to this place of not knowing where to go with what I want to express in a cohesive way. So it's kind of bottled up my writing and even sitting down to have a few moments here at the Real Deal Kitchen, whether it be talking or even talking about what we're doing food wise here. Food wise, we've actually been pretty active. We've explored several different variations of scones, and at some point, those recipes will perhaps filter their way to the blog. We do have a couple of great recipes up on the blog right now, new recipes. So check that out at bonerootherb.com. And what I'm working with uh, more in the as these warmer days approach have been I've been revisiting salads, and salads not in your sense of leafy greens and avocado and things like that, although those are great, but more legume and green driven salads that are can be more staple, like for main courses at dinner, a lighter main course for dinner, or a nice lunch, hearty lunch. And when I create salads, I work with layering flavors and textures, and I think that that is a really key way to uh, elevate that experience from something that may feel mundane, even if you're just making something very simple like a spinach salad with avocado and radishes. If you turn it on its head, the way you put those ingredients together, you create a different experience. So normally we might think of putting the greens in the bowl and then putting the accompanying things like radishes and celery and sliced shallots or scallions or something like that all on top of that, and then dressing the salad with your olive oil and whatever acid you're going to use and salt and pepper. I say turn it on its head and bring the the shallots or the whatever allium or pungent quality food you're using, shallots or scallions, or even if you're using something like fresh garlic, put that at the bottom. Let that macerate a little bit with your olive oil and salt. Put some acid on that, and then go on to your more crisp vegetables like uh, celery, uh, and things like that. Layer that on top of that, and then if you want to add something sweet like a currant or a raisin, if you want to go in that direction a little bit, if you're into adding dried fruit, then add that. So all those flavors begin to come together at the bottom. Then you don't even have to think about dressing, because your dressing is developing at the bottom of that bowl. Then you could add your more tender leaves, uh, starting with the crispier, say like romaine. If you're going to add romaine, and then maybe your spinach, your baby spinach, and then or baby chard leaves or baby kale that's coming up now. Although I'd probably add the kale before the romaine. Whatever tender young spring greens that you can get your hands on. And then finally, if you want to add something like avocado or something like that, put that on the very top. Although I tend to like this to serve that on the side a little bit. And then add a little bit more olive oil to the top, a little bit more salt to taste. Toss it all up. Your dressing's been developing at the bottom and taking on all those flavors or taking out the flavors, teasing out the flavors of the shallot or the scallion or even the onion, both softening those elements and drawing the flavor out. Toss that all up together. So that's just a basic leaf salad that becomes very elevated. I have my co-conspirator here laughing. He said earlier to me, "Do you want to squawk or walk first?" you know, this is a real deal kitchen. I try to tell it like it is. And like I was started out with, it's been very hard for me to get to this seat because I've been sitting in meditation and all the crap has been coming up from the back. You know, meditation is not, this doesn't bring us to this beautiful, lofty, pristine space. It's there to bring up all the junk. So the junk has been digesting in me. And when we're digesting something, just like when you eat a meal or this beautiful salad, one of these beautiful salads I'm talking about, you don't want to then go and like twist your body and stand on your head, and you got to give yourself some time to digest what's going on. And I've been facing a lot of stuff. I mean, we're all facing stuff. It doesn't have anything to do with the fact that I'm dealing with, yes, maybe I'm facing a little more stuff than the average bear out there, but I don't know. Yes, I am. But not really, because it's all relative to what our lives are, right? So my life is this right now. The junk that's churning up is, yes, somewhat about this, but it's also about my life in general. You know, where do I want to go from here? Uh, where am I going from here? You know, I'm facing what I'm facing, and right now, sometimes I'm really frustrated. A lot of the time, I'm really frustrated, but I still want to wake up and do things every day. And what gets me to that point is that I want to be in the kitchen. I want to be with my dad. I want to be with my family. And so I make the effort, even when I don't want to make the effort. And sometimes I don't make the effort. Sometimes I'd rather squawk than walk. so, uh, so this idea of layering the salads is also, we're layering our experience in life, and sometimes we've layered too much on, right? We've piled too much on. We don't know what's at the bottom of that bowl, and we get to the bottom of the bowl and we're like, whoa. Through practices like meditation, which this is the practice I have available to me now. Yes, there are certain stretches and movements I can do there, and certainly I try to avail myself of that. But the meditation practice has been key for me. And so one would say, well, if you're churning all that stuff up, why would you bother? Aren't you already dealing with enough? Why would you want to bother doing that? Well, because if you don't churn it up and let it release out in some way, give it over, or also embrace it, embrace the messiness with the beauty, then it just sits there and it informs your life, whether you are acknowledging that or not. Whatever's happening there in the background, it is informing your life. Just like the stuff at the bottom of the salad bowl is going to inform the rest of the salad, but this is hopefully in a positive way because you've chosen to put that stuff at the bottom and create a delicious dressing for the rest of the things that are going on top. But you know what you're doing. If you don't have a practice like a meditative practice or a contemplative practice of some sort, all that stuff, it's back there, it's churning away. And it is, trust me, informing what is going on in your daily life and your decisions. So Do you want, the blindfolded person running the show, or do you want the person with the blindfold off driving the car? I guess that's my challenge to you. What are you choosing to do? Are you going to stay sleeping and blindfolded, or do you want to put the blindfold down, and even though it might be hard and messy back there behind that blindfold, do you want to wake up a little bit to what is running your life, what programs are running your life, and step forward from there? I guess it is a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of a throwdown here today. Uh, Develop your life and yourself and your psyche like you would develop a delicious salad. If if you if you don't eat from that well, if you don't drink from that well of yourself, how can you expect to create something beautiful and magical and tasty and delicious of your life and your life experience if you don't tap into it? So this is a real ramble here today. Uh, and I guess I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. Thank you for sitting and listening with me. Uh, be well. Take a seat in the morning. Be quiet and breathe in and out. Watch your breath. Something simple and yet something very challenging to do. Maybe we'll talk more on that as the weeks unfold before us. Thank you for being with us at the Real Deal Kitchen. Be well.